Let's listen to Steve Bannon on his April 24th podcast.
We're already working behind the scenes. We're going to force Jordan to do that because all Jordan's given, and you can talk to the Trump team, all he's done is happy talk. You're head of judiciary. You got stories a day that Comer and him don't know where they're going. You haven't done the weaponization of government. You've done a terrible job on the impeachment. You haven't held the DOJ to account for anything. It's been absolutely an airball for a year and a half for you as head of judiciary.
Lisa Rubin, talk to me about that.
Steve Bannon is trying to deflect not only from Donald Trump's conviction, but from his own. Katie, tomorrow, Steve Bannon is due in a federal courtroom because having lost an appeal of his contempt of Congress conviction that stemmed from his not responding to a subpoena from the January 6th investigation, he lost an appeal of that conviction. And now the Department of Justice is saying it's time for Steve Bannon to start serving his sentence. So he is due in a federal courthouse tomorrow. He's also scheduled to be tried here in New York in September. By who? By Judge Juan Merchan, the same judge who oversaw Trump's conviction. So it's not surprising to me that Steve Bannon is trying to get into the former president's good graces in the hopes that, if nothing else, he could perhaps pardon him yet once again. But I'll also note that this call and response that Bannon started has had a response, right? Jim Jordan has sent now a letter to Attorney General Garland demanding documents relating to the employment at the Department of Justice by a prosecutor on Alvin Bragg's team. He has also asked Alvin Bragg and that prosecutor to come in for a June 13th hearing of the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of Federal Government. They are trying to make an example of Alvin Bragg, and they are going to torment him, if nothing less, between now and November.
Chuck, David Graham at The Atlantic had a really interesting piece arguing if it matters if the prosecution against President Trump was Politico. And he says because Trump's defenders are unwilling to argue that he didn't falsify records or that it shouldn't be a crime, he argues they are actually arguing that he should get a pass on crimes they view as minor because he's a political figure. The American justice system has never held that someone should be immune from repercussions for their actions, their behavior, simply because they're a politician. He says this is what the Republicans are arguing here. So when the Republicans go after or promise to go after Democrats and say AGs, state AGs and DAs and the DOJ, if they get control of it again, should actively get involved, what does that look like in practice?
Well, Katie, I mean, take a step back. Why was Donald Trump convicted in a Manhattan courtroom? The answer is because the government had the facts to meet their burden of proof, and a jury agreed unanimously. So saying that you want to prosecute someone, saying that you want revenge, right, saying that it's our turn now is very different than having a valid investigation with sufficient proof to obtain a conviction by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And so, look, at one level, it's just a bunch of some not very smart people saying some not very smart things. On the other hand, there is a danger, right? The weaponization of the criminal justice system, even if it doesn't result in a conviction, right? The mental toll, the financial toll of being investigated and charged is still steep. And so we ought to take this seriously. We ought to not overreact to it because, as I said, these are some not very smart people, once again saying not very smart things.
Well, yeah.
In order to convict someone, Katie, you actually need facts. And if they don't have facts, they won't be succeeding. If they do have facts, if Democrats or tall people or, you know, whoever committed crimes, then charge them. Have at it.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. There was a Durham investigation, by the way. The Republicans, Donald Trump appointed Durham to investigate the investigators, and he came back with nothing.